Hey guys, Marsegan here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so earlier today, we got the full details of all of the new Heroes units for this year's celebration, tweeted out on the official Dokkan Twitter pages. So we know what all 5 of the new units and the 2 awakenings do. I did a video obviously breaking those all down in detail. It was my first reaction to seeing them. So obviously if you haven't seen that yet, probably worth going and checking that video out before you watch the rest of this one and then come back to it, because as you can see from the title and clearly the tweet that is up on the screen, I made a post not long after putting that video up just to kind of get some feedback from you guys over on Twitter to see what people were thinking about the units for this year. So I've seen a mixed bag already. Obviously, as always, the Heroes haters have come out of the woodwork to say that all the units look terrible, which I think is definitely not true. I do think it is a mixed bag among the units. In terms of who is going to be the best, I think it's obviously going to be either Rose or Vegito. Both of them super good on an actual Heroes or crossover team, and then both of them have potential on other teams as well. And then Broly and Vegeta are the ones that certainly look questionable. But yeah, we'll see what you guys think as we go down here and check out some of the comments. So shout out to our boy Prof, one of the biggest people from my community that's been hyped for the Heroes celebration. So Janemba and Cooler usable. I don't think they'll have a place on any team outside Heroes. Yeah, unfortunately they kept the crossover restriction for them, which is a little bit unfortunate. Vegeta is nice, and for a moment I thought his category restriction would ruin him, but there are many Vegeta family heroes. That is true, and like God Trunks will get his Easy A next year, the Xeno Vegeta will get his Easy A next year, but that's a year away, right? And they've stopped doing the whole thing where units don't awaken straight away, so we shouldn't be in a position where we're waiting like a year for them to awaken. Now, Dark Mask King and Black Mask Saiyan are getting their Easy A's this year, so if they are very good, Dark Mask King, for example, needs a Heroes unit on rotation with him in order for him to get guard, so he could be interesting with that Vegeta potentially. And then we got Fu is nice. I mean, if you get Rainbow Orbs, I think he's support. We all know what chance to dodge means for Fu. Yeah, true. Shout out to all the Heroes versus Sin runs lost by Fu not dodging. Rose, I like him a lot. It's awkward to have him leading Super Saiyan 3, but since there are so many Super Saiyan 3 heroes, it's kind of nice. Yeah, Force Transformation is a little bit awkward. Vegito, what's to be expected, he's pretty good. Only thing that for me is missing is some defense with his super attack. And then Broly, I don't know where the rest of his passive went, but they could have also given him TBA. Only Limit Breaker 4 Broly will ever get, and he seems dead on arrival. Yeah, Broly seems to be the one that people are most disappointed about. He's restricted to fighting a specific enemy and having multiple enemies, which you're very rarely going to get. Now, there will be some situations where he can be good, but it's just unfortunate for him to have that restriction. So shout out to Mega Nice. There seems to be a big contrast of kits between the headliners and the rest. However, as a collectioner, I will be happy with anything I get. It's fair enough. Platinums, I'm really happy that they don't have the stupid super/extreme class rotation restrictions that held that last year's Heroes batch had. Besides that, I'm curious how their performance will look because of their low stats. Yeah, they don't have the craziest stats, just like the headliners from last year. We said the same thing last year, but I feel this is like a knock-on effect from them seeing, now that we've come around to those Easy A's happening, because they're happening this year, the Vegito and Broly Super Saiyan 4, like they had good stats when they first came out, so now that they're getting their Easy A's, they have like LR level stats. So I don't know if they have deliberately been giving the newer Heroes units lower stats, so that when they eventually Easy A, they're not stupidly powerful, but I don't know why they would bother doing that. It's like, why restrict a unit now so that they're not a bit more powerful than you planned in like 3 years time, right? That seems kind of dumb, so I don't know. 8.5 out of 10 to Jones. Barring 1 or 2 units who are mid or ass, the rest are definitely worth running and can cook in the hardest stages of the game. I mean, we'll see. Obviously, you guys know I'm going to take them into all of the tough events and see what we can do. Sly says they did Rose and Vegito justice. Vegeta, unfortunately, isn't great on paper, but hopefully that shows difference in the game. Roni is interesting, and Fu I actually like. Free support, but the orb condition is going to suck. I think with Fu, the thing that struck me when reading his thing is he doesn't need that many orbs to get certain bits of his abilities that will be useful. I feel like he's probably going to be like a full dodge character in the hidden potential anyway. So then if you're picking up, he needs STR or rainbow orbs, and he does create STR orbs himself. So I feel like he does have some potential, but it's one of those things we need to see him in game and actually on some of these teams to see how he's actually going to do. Because as a third slot floating support unit, which is I feel probably is going to be his #1 use, you don't want units that create orbs for themselves to then be in slot 3, right? Because 2 other units have to pick up the orbs. So if he changes a random type of orb and it's basically like almost the whole field, there's not going to be any left for him to pick up because it will be almost unavoidable. So we need to see him actually in game to see how that goes. But so Bob says they seem underpowered but a bit less restricted than last year. Also, the stats aren't too bad. I can't wait to tank a super for 500k and die anyway at full HP. I mean, I guess it depends, right? Like certain units, their stats, whilst they're not crazy, on paper, they do have like the big percentage buffs. Units like Rose, obviously having guard, Vegito having damage reduction. I think they definitely do seem clearly like higher tuned than the ones from last year. But Rose and Vegito are great. Still disappointing that Vegito got nothing on super, because he can do 3 supers in 1 turn but only got attack. Broly seems alright, need to see in fight. Cooler and Janemba are good but too limited. I mean, that's the thing, right? Cooler and Janemba, it is a shame that they're limited to crossover, but on the Heroes team, I can actually imagine them both being quite good. So Rose is playable outside of Heroes, and that's just great. They did listen to the community. I think he really is. I've seen a lot of people, like, we obviously don't like chance to guard passives, but you know, obviously there's ways to cheat it out early with revival characters and stuff. But like, everybody loves 23rd World Tournament Goku. And on turn 3, if you haven't revived with a unit yet, which is pretty common unless you're using the new Gohan and Piccolo, he only has a 50% chance to guard. And I've seen calcs for that Rose already, that after 1 super attack with no support on the rotation, he's at like 700k defense. Which means if that guard does proc, he's tanking like all the normal attacks from all the bosses, right? Now, obviously, if he gets supered and that guard doesn't activate, you're going to take a lot of damage. But that 700k is 1 super, and he can do additionals, and with no support. And quite a few of these new units, or the ideal units on the Heroes team, are going to be giving support. So I feel like he's going to be on rotations where, especially if you do get a double or even a triple super, he's clearing 1,000,000 defense and then has a 50-50 shot to guard. And then, of course, once he transforms, he has guaranteed guard and even higher defense. I think his defense gets over 1,000,000 with only the 1 super. So I think he's going to be interesting to run. Obviously, he's not like a god outside of the Heroes team because of that chance to guard. But, I mean, I'll do a video about it specifically. There's definitely a build for Zamasu's team that you're going to be able to make that has crossover units on it, right? Because we still need to see the details for the Easy A's, but units like Silas and Mechikabura are kind of still runnable on that team now. Demon Tamigra's getting his Easy A. Like, there very easily could be a build for Zamasu's team where you can run Rose and some other crossover units, and then he's just going to have that guaranteed guard anyway. So I think that's good. Step up in quality is definitely proof they understand the low bar of unit quality and usability this year. Vegito looks great alongside Rose. I think Fu will be decent on a few villain teams. Broly and Vegito are your typical filler, not great units. I feel like that is a pretty good grading, right? Like, Broly and Vegeta are definitely the worst of the 5 new units, right? They look amazing for someone who's never summoned on Hero since they've been in the game. They definitely seem like they will strengthen all my crossover characters. I mean, yeah, because they're not as restricted. I mean, obviously they have crossover allies restrictions and stuff like that. But if you've never summoned for Heroes, it's not as divisive as it was last year. Because last year, if you pulled Hearts and the Limit Breakers, they basically wanted you to build like 2 separate teams for them. So it's a little bit easier this way. Straight Flames, the Easy A's can only make things better. True. Can't wait to see the details for those. The 2 Dokkan Awakenings are decent. I would say they are quite good, especially just on the crossover team. The new units, only Vegito and Rose are good. Too bad Rose won't be good on a regular villain team. See, again, I just don't... We need to see them in the game, but I just don't agree with this, right? Like, chance to guard, we all hate it, right? We all wish that units just had guaranteed guard. But just because a unit has chance to guard doesn't mean they're bad. Because they could not have guard at all. But on the turns that his guard actually does proc, like, then his defense will be quite good. So I could definitely see him being usable on that Zamasu team, but obviously we'll see what the best team build for that is. Personally, I like the units overall. Some are better than others, but that's okay. This happens, yeah, I mean, that does happen all the time, even with non-hero stuff. There's restrictions, but it's not as much like previous years. I don't mind them since I like to use full heroes anyway. I mean, that's the thing, right? We always want the units to be usable off the heroes team, but on the heroes team, especially the main headliners, they are going to cook, right? Vegito, Rose, and Fu on a full heroes or crossover team, they're all going to be quite good. Like, I want the units to be good off the heroes team as well, but I'm somebody that loves running the heroes team, so if you're on a full crossover team, those units are going to look very good, so I do like that. The animation seems better than the previous years. I think Broly's, again, it's disappointing for Broly overall, because Broly's is probably the most basic and disappointing. Everybody else's look quite good. Fu is quite basic as well, but everyone else's are quite good. Rose, like the full power Rose one is awesome. I really like that. So most of them seem runnable in most difficult content. I mean, obviously you guys know me, right? Like, we'll be getting all the units, rainbowing them, link level 10, and then I will be taking them all up against all the different content. I'm planning a big, like, subathon type thing stream over the weekend where we will go through and beat every single event in the game with the heroes team. So stay tuned for that. Vegito, Fu, and Rose are cooking. Cooler is great. Janemba is situationally good. Vegeta is a unit, and then Broly. Yeah, that's fair. Pretty good units. Overall upgrade from last year. Yep. With the upcoming EZAs, heroes could become a more reliant category. Maybe even for some difficult content. Maybe I sound too hopeful, but man, I'm excited for all of them. Yeah, the EZAs being good will be the icing on the cake, right? For that team actually being able to beat all of these, like, new red zone stages and stuff. And the thing is, I say this every year, like, I think the heroes team turns out fine if they can beat all the content that's out in the game when they come out. Which last year, that's what I did, right? I no-itemed every single event that was out in the game at the time. Some of the stages were a bit more difficult, but then the Red Ribbon Army Red Zone that came out a month after them, I no-itemed all of those stages as well. And it wasn't until the Sin event came out, which obviously for JP, the anniversary is like 2 months after Heroes. And then Sin was the only one, because we no-itemed all 6 of the other Shadow Dragon stages. So if the units can do all the events that come out at the time, then, you know, they're decent enough, right? People want them to have that longevity, which I do agree with, but it's why I've always thought it's weird to call them bad on release when they can beat all the events in the game at the time. So again, we are going to be going through that, all the content over the week and the weekend. They seem quite good. Noticeable flaws with some characters, but overall I think they're good. Yep. They're so cool, unbelievably cool. I think they're being restricted to mainly a team that gets updated once a year. I mean, that's the sad thing, right? Like, if Heroes was twice a year or more, it wouldn't be as bad. But obviously, what we're getting is what we get, and then that's it for like another year. And a lot of them do have crossover instead of just Heroes as a restriction. But there's very few, like, opportunities to get new units like that, right? It's like Super Saiyan 3, Bardock's, Broly's, and Vegetas, which they've shown they will do outside of something like Heroes, but is not exactly very common. Another tie-in with, like, another game, like if we ever got a Legends collab, or any sort of weird stuff like that, like, they would be on crossover. But it's not something that happens all that commonly, which is unfortunate. Not sure if I can justify Stone spend in terms of what the units bring kit-wise, but still someone if you think they're hype. I mean, like I say, when you're building the full Heroes team itself, they will be very good. So, Lilith says very good. Limit Breaker Broly is the only one I would say is bad. I'm liking Rose to full power the most. He's very strong. I mean, once he is transformed, he seems very, very good. Now, obviously, he transforms on turn 5. There's no option to do it, and you can't get it any earlier, but once he transforms, he seems very, very powerful. We need at least 2 really good EZAs for a competent crossover team, then they can cook. I mean, obviously we don't know, they could fumble, right? But Vegito is very well placed, like, to be a linchpin for the crossover team. The Demon Demigra, Dark Mask King, Demon Goddess Toa, like, we definitely could have a lot of stuff. I'm glad they're starting to care, might play for this collab. I mean, people do seem to generally think that they are at least better than last year, so that's good. Yeah, good, better than last year. I like Rose the most, but dislike that his guard before transformation is locked behind crossover, otherwise just 50%. I mean, yeah, they could lock it to extreme class, but then I guess that's the team you're going to want to use them on the most anyway. So 50% chance to guard, I think, as we said already, right? Like, it sucks, and there will be times that it lets you down and it gets you killed, but it's not the worst thing in the world to have a high chance to guard as opposed to not having guard at all, right? Like, there will be moments where his guard will activate on a turn where he's done like a triple super, you get supered, and then because the guard activates, you actually, like, live the super. And I mean, he's going to be doing a lot of damage as well, so I do think he is a very good unit from what I've seen, obviously just looking at his kit on paper. Him not having big bad bosses is an L, though, that is true. Major upgrade from last year, way less restricted. Yeah, fair enough, compared to every Dokkan Fest released this year. I mean, there has been some units with some weird restrictions this year, but they do have restrictions as well. They're all mid or trash as expected. So yeah, typical, like I say, the Heroes haters always come out like they're absolutely not. Like if you look at Vegito or Rose's kit and say that they're mid or trash, like you just don't understand how the game works. Like you guys know I'm a Heroes fan. You know, I will always like the Heroes units to a certain extent, but in that initial video where I read out their kit, I said the things that I thought about them were bad. But to say that Rose or Vegito are mid, like that's just absolutely not correct, right? So animations, the kits and defense counts, I'm very hyped. I already was by default. Got 2,100 stones ready plus. We don't know what the Easy A's will do, or the free to play, or the Super Strike. Physical Xeno Trunks and the AGL could Easy A as well. Because remember, yeah, the tech Xeno Trunks thing was announced, but we don't know if those other Xenoverse units could potentially get Easy A's. That could just be something we literally don't find out until like the data download or something. So that's quite interesting. They all seem good except Vegeta. He needs additional supers but doesn't have additional in his passive. Vegeta not having a voice is what bothers me. Yeah, so the thing is, so this last part is unfair, right? I believe the global dev team just don't care about the players' opinions. When it comes to the voicing, this is something that we wouldn't have known until now when a character that has an English voice comes out. Last year, we all assumed that Hearts didn't get an English voice because he doesn't have an English voice actor. Whereas this year, Vegito obviously does have an English voice in other games. But the thing that I've seen people saying, and I saw people saying this before, we just had no idea whether it was true because the situation hadn't come up yet. But unfortunately, it seems that it's got something to do with the Heroes licensing. And Global just doesn't get the same like licensing rights for the Heroes celebration that JP does. So for whatever reason, however the deal was come to, it means JP gets the voice and Global doesn't. But it's not because like the global team just decided they didn't care about us getting the voice or anything, right? It won't have been a decision that was made by them. It will have been a decision made by the people who hold the licensing rights for Heroes. So it sucks for Global. Like as a Global main, obviously I'm disappointed that Vegito is not going to be voiced for his intro or his active skill. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's not Global's fault. It's not the devs' fault, right? It comes down to the rights holders for Dragon Ball Heroes, right? So 2 out of 5 are usable. Again, this is incorrect, right? I mean, I guess it depends, right? 2 out of 5 usable on other teams, maybe he means. And then I guess that is probably true. I think you could probably still get away with Fu, but they're all usable on a full Heroes team, except maybe Vegeta. All around a W. They're a lot better than I expected them to be. Glad the big two are useful, especially Vegito. Well, yeah, we know the physical one is easy, right? Because he's shown on that image. Animations are a big step up, definitely going in. There's a meme from Goresh, launches an additional attack that has a great chance of becoming a super. I mean, great chance is 70%, but at least with the way this is done, right, it's you always get a normal, so then you increase the chance of doing the hidden potential from the additional from the hidden potential system, I should say. So, you know, there'll be those turns where you do a super and 2 additional normals, but it is what it is. Good solid units. I'm glad they made them good this year. Hopefully they don't get screwed over in 2 months. Yeah, exactly. If the new difficult content for the anniversary comes out for JP in February and the Heroes units get destroyed by that event, like just like last year, we won't hear the end of it, right, as the Heroes appreciators. So hopefully that doesn't happen. They're cool. Good kits for the main units, but some will be waiting for their Easy A's already. Looking at you, Vegeta. Good enough for me. I don't care about units being overpowered these days as long as they have one redeeming quality. I mean, that's the thing, right? I've said this a lot as well. Like, it is a game, and the point of playing a game is to have fun. So if you pull some Heroes units, you make a Heroes team, you can beat all the events, right? Like, that's the point of playing the game. So not every single unit has to be the best unit in the game or, like, the new best, like, top 3 TUR or whatever. As long as they're usable and fun, like, the animations are cool, so Broly was the sacrifice to make the other units cook this year. It's interesting to see how many people think that Broly is worse than Vegeta. Obviously we need to see them in game, but it will be interesting to see who does work out actually being worse. Yeah, because this guy's saying that neither Broly or Vegeta are actually good. The animations could look a little better. I mean, again, although the animations are, for what we did get, I think they look really good, but they are kind of restricted. Like the hero super attack animations are basically always just one-to-one recreations of the attacks they have in the Heroes game. So there's only so much they can do. But when you consider how good some of the close-ups and stuff look, I think they did a pretty good job with most of them, right? So more optimistic than last year. Oh wait, no, yeah, we missed a couple actually there. Stop restricting them. They should have made the subunits actually good. Okay, I did read that one. I think so far they're actually good. Some are dicey, but I'm happy at this Heroes units less restricted than last year. I think Dokkan for the most part so far did a good job. Broly is the unit of all time. Another year, another lack of LR leading heroes or crossover. I think this will probably end up being the case forever now. Like if they were going to do a Heroes LR, I feel like they would have done it already. And then we'll end off here with a positive one. Absolutely ecstatic. The ones people were hugely anticipating, Vegeta and Rose, are unbelievably strong. Better than most 2023 DFEs. I mean, we have had some weird ones this year. So, you know, who knows when we see them in game. Their restrictions are far from unreachable. For now, I just hope that this guy's EZA is good. So there you go. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. I tried to get through as many comments as I could without having to take too many pauses to have coughing fits, because I'm still quite ill, but I'm still, you know, I'm desperately trying to recover here, ready for Wednesday so we can go ham and celebrate the Heroes celebration in full swing. So let me know all your thoughts on the Heroes celebration down below. What do you think of the units? Are they good enough? Are you summoning? Let me know in the comments. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.